Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Moms and Some Labels. Two Moms and Some Labels is a platform for parents and caregivers caring for a child with a disability to come together in a shared space, to network, to gain ideas on just how to persevere through these challenging times. My name is Brittany.
And I'm Nicole.
And today we have a very special guest with us today. We are going to talk about rehab, PTOT, speech, things like that. And we've talked to PTs and OTs before, but this is different. Okay, this is a different type of experience. This is a different type of environment for the children. And I think this is so important for us to share with the community and just let you guys know about this resource. As always, we want you guys to be informed and know what is out there and available to you and your family. So with that being said, I want to let Lori go ahead and take it away and introduce herself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Lori Allen, and I am a speech therapist. I've been one for 27 years, and I've spent my whole career in toddlers. So my specialty is clearly autism, but I've treated lots of things in my career. I'm very comfortable with lots of things. I started at FSU, and I stayed on at FSU after I got my master's degree doing autism research on an NIH grant there. So I got some really incredible experience about early identification, which is what I think is such a huge key to really helping families. So that one thing led to another, getting involved with early steps, working at Wolfson's. I kind of got all of the different areas of my career, different expertise, different people feeding into me, different learning environments, and it's kind of led us to the present day.
Wow. I mean, that all right there is just a plethora of just experience and knowledge. And it's just so amazing to know that, there is a therapist that has been through it. They've experienced it, dealt with it hands-on, and is helping our children, especially those with autism in the community. So that is so awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about the business.
Yes.
What is the name of the business and how did it get started?
So it's called Tribe Rehabilitation, and we named it Tribe because the core of our being is to allow families with disabilities to have a community and feel acceptance, so that they have a place where they go and feel comfortable, and that's their normal. It's not, any fitting into this or fitting into that, but there is an open arm, welcome environment. So we do have the ability to bill insurances, but we also have the nonprofit. Tribe is a nonprofit, and with that, we raise money to really just love on families in all different ways. So the idea that we had, I'm a partner with Cameron McWilliams. She's an occupational therapist, and we met at Wolfson's about 10 years ago, and we both worked at Wolfson's together, which was a great experience for both of us, and we loved our time there. But as both of us were kind of having some doors closed and just feel like something new was coming, we started thinking of this concept of tribe. And the whole point was that it can be really hard for a family when they have spent a lot of time in a medical setting to continually get treatment at a medical setting. So, the parking garage and entering a hospital, that can be just anxiety provoking in itself. What we wanted to do was buy a house. And in this house, we wanted it to be where you come over to our house and play. You're not coming to therapy. So I kind of had this idea. So I started looking, and I got a realtor, and I walked into this 1938 historic home in Riverside. Wow. And I said, this house was built for me 40 years before I was born. It was perfect. It was not even on the market. We called them in the living room. I said, whatever you want, I'll make a full price offer. And we signed a contract that night. It was just a miracle. We were expecting to take about a year to get off the ground. And instead that was right around Thanksgiving. In December, we incorporated Tribe. In January, we closed on the house. I stopped working on April 3rd, and we opened on April 10th.
Wow.
And we are rounding off our 900th visit this week. So it's been a complete roller coaster. But what has been so amazing is the outpouring of community and people just loving on us. Like when we opened, we would arrive during the day and there would just be toys on our front door. Like people have just been so generous and caring. So what has given us the ability to do is the house is adorable. We have a beautiful backyard. Somebody donated a full play structure. We have bikes. We learned to ride bikes on the sidewalk. We cook in the kitchen. We learned to wash our hands in the bathroom. So we turned one of our larger master bedroom, we turned into a full sensory gym. It looks just like any sensory gym you would go to in a clinic. Our dining room is a waiting area, and we've got a guinea pig, and we've got fish. We've got a cat. So we've got this whole kind of very natural environment, but it's still it's still a rehab center. We are still highly skilled. We're billing insurances. We're running kind of undercover as a fully functioning rehab center with occupational, speech, and physical therapy. But on the outside, it looks like you're just coming over to hang out. So, it's been wonderful. But through the nonprofit, we've been able to also establish things like meet and greets. So we hang out in different places in the community. And we had one this past weekend at Dofi, which is a great place to check out if you have not already in the world of autism. But he welcomed us with open arms to bring our wild crew. And it was so neat because we had 7 toddlers with autism hanging out together, playing at the table. And one of the moms came in and she commented, she's like, this just feels so, she's like, I hate to use the word, but she's like, it just feels so normal to like be here and have all these kids playing in a restaurant and we can all hang out. So that is in our mission statement, is to build community. And that community is for us to get out and step out together, because it's scary as a parent with a disability to think about going to these places. But if you go with 7 other families and they all have children just like yours, then you're like, oh, we're the gang, you want to be us now. So, it's looking at autism and disability in a completely different lens and celebrating the uniqueness for the kids and not thinking about what they can't do, but thinking about all the things that we can do. And also supporting families when it does get hard. We're there and, helping them get through it. So the wonderful thing too about the nonprofit is we've been able to meet lots of needs for the family. So they'll come in and say, we're having car seat issues, or we're having transportation issues, or, my spouse was just incarcerated. That brings a lot of issues. And when I was working in a clinic, I never had the ability to really care for families like we can now. So we can think out of the box. And we can go after donors, or we can go after resources that I really couldn't before. So this is loving on the whole family. And boy, do they come. When they come, the whole family comes. So we've got grandmas and aunties and, we'll have 7 or 8 people show up. And the funny thing is we wanted to build a comfortable environment, but they don't leave either. They're hanging out in the living room and they're making friends and talking. And I'll go in the parking lot and they're still there an hour later, hanging out and talking. So we're trying to find, connection for families with disabilities to be able to talk to other families, because the biggest thing that I hear is I feel so isolated and I'm the only one. And I'm dealing with this and nobody understands. And it's so true. So even if for a small group of people, we can show you that we do understand and you're not the only one, and everything you're feeling is completely normal and appropriate. And here's other friends that you can talk to and hang out with. And let's just have fun. We're just having fun. So it's crazy. But it's great.
And that's so true, because, like we talk about that all the time, me and Nicole, about how, we feel like everybody is just kind of in their own little bubble. And I know just being a special needs parent, like it gets hectic sometimes. And I was like, if you need something, we can help. But really, it's like, okay, can we really help because we're dealing with our own stuff at home, or do we know where to turn to, or who do we turn to? Like, we talk about the different counties, and it's like everybody has their own little group in their county, but if we can all come together as, like one unit and provide support to each other, like we could just share so much more information and help each other out more, and just become more of like a community and help one another. Like I was talking to another mom of a child with special needs, and she was like, we all need to spend time with our spouses or our significant others. And a lot of times we don't get to do that. And, that relationship, it can get a little rough because we're busy focusing on our child with special needs. And she was like, I don't mind, donating my time to you. If you want to go out and spend time with your partner, like, I don't want money. I would like for, you to maybe babysit for me. So, that's how we can exchange of services to one another, because, that would work so well because we both have experience dealing with, different medical complexities and issues with our children. So, it makes so much sense in going out and trying to find a babysitter and vet them and see if they have experience and they're really qualified and really will put that care into our child that we have for our children, that no one else really has the true, experience of giving to a child that has these medical needs, special needs. So I'm like, that is such a good idea. But if we could all come together and do more of this, maybe our lives would be just a little bit more easier, and we could just become more of a community for one another's support system. And and then also, going back to how you guys provide this, I would compare it to kind of like a Montessori environment, for the children. I was just talking with my significant other about how my son just went for a speech evaluation, and he did the evaluation, and then it was like, okay, I don't think he's doing this and that, and we're hearing all these things, but when he comes home, then he's making all these sounds and doing all talking with his brother and babbling and all that, and I'm just like, he was not in in a natural environment. He was somewhere new. He was with someone he's never seen before, and with things he's never seen. So it makes it more challenging and more uncomfortable for that child to be able to do what their full potential is, because they don't know. It's a new environment, and they're not sure of how they should react to that environment. So that is so important. Absolutely. That you guys are doing that and providing that type of structure and environment for the children to be able to exhibit their best, and show their best in their most natural environment. So what better way than to be at a home, just like when they're at home and practicing and doing those skills when they're at home. So, this is what is so important, what makes you guys so different than, the other therapy places that we have interviewed, or even just going into the medical setting, like you were saying. And that is so important because you're getting the most out of the child, and it's more natural, and it's not forced. It's not, you have to do this and you have to do that, so I think that is so awesome that you guys are providing this environment for the children and the families.
Yeah, and there was, and two, we have the ability to go outside. Children with disabilities love to be outside, and children with autism thrive outside. And you can't do that. I lived in a fishbowl for so long, going to rehab place after rehab place, where I had my closet or I had my room, on the whatever floor, and it was beautiful and it was great. But children need to be outside playing. So that is one of the biggest things, is we are outside all the time. We go down the sidewalk 5 or 6 houses, and, we wave at the neighbors and the dogs and the mailman. And it just gives us such a natural way to engage. It feels like when these parents go home, they practice it and a place where it feels comfortable. And two, we're incredibly family centered. So families are fully integrated in our sessions, and that we do more coaching. We let the families play, and we'll give them cues. This is what they're doing. And we'll kind of tweak what they're doing to get the most out of their child. But for the most part, we don't take the child away from their family. We bring the whole family, and we go outside or inside or in the room, and we have the family do the therapy.
And I think what is really good about your setting, what you're describing, is also for the family. They don't have to go. I know you spoke about the child not going to a hospital.
That's right.
But for the parent as well, it's a lot going to the hospital, especially if you had a traumatic pregnancy, birth, and NICU experience, PICU experience, having to relive and go through that same drive, calming your child down. And then the first 15 minutes of the session is shot because you're trying to console. And then I think also with you guys being in a house, it's great because it teaches the family what to use in their house.
That's
and then
right.
Not being hospital stuff when they ask you, oh, where did you get that from? I see little Johnny's doing really well with that. It's not like, oh, it's this $500-$600 thing.
That's right.
From this medical book. You're really not going to be able to get it. Maybe you can get a scholarship, but we're going to try, you have stuff that can go in people's house. They can look, oh, it's in the living room. This will fit. Look, he's climbing on this couch so well.
Right.
It just gives that. And then with them being able to go outside and go to a restaurant or go out in a group, that is a huge thing for families because like you said, we're that gang. So those people are staring. Well, they're staring at all of us. So,
that's right.
So it's not just one and we're all have, children with different abilities, disabilities. So we're all used to it. I used to laugh going out with one mom. Her son had a trach. I was like, oh, well, you're not scared when I turn on the suction machine. You're used to it. You're like, do you have an extra sterile ward? So just different things, you understand each other. So I think what you described and what you guys are doing is amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Awesome. And I will say, I did a lot of time in many different settings. So I'm not just saying this compared to one setting, but I am astounded at the progress children are making in the home. It was beyond what I could have anticipated. What I saw would take me like a month or two in another setting is happening in a week or two in the home. And even bigger deal, and this has been the funnest thing to me, is just what you were saying, Nicole. We'll do things like in the living room, and then families will send us videos in their living room doing the same thing. And we didn't even tell them to do that. They're just like doing it. There's this excitement about therapy and getting involved and empowering them to feel like they're competent to help their children, which doesn't come naturally. That's scary. And a lot of times when you're in kind of a more sterile environment, you're getting all this information thrown at you. You get these worksheets handed at you, and you get all of this check off, and you need to do this and you need to do that. And you've already got way more on your plate than you could ever handle. So how about we have so much fun at therapy that you can't wait to get home and do it.
Right.
And it makes it just feel right. So the flow works much better. And that makes progress. Kids come back better every week. And I'm just shocked.
And then probably the parents are more encouraged to go home and work because they're not like, I know some families, I've had my moments with Lorenzo where I knew the whole therapy session was just going to be crying. And I'm like, oh, we got to go another day. Let's go. But now it's like, oh, we're just going to go play with Miss Lori and Miss Cameron at the house. Come on, y'all, let's
go. That's exactly right.
It's not, so mom is not stressed. Dad's not freaking out. Everyone's, this is just a fun play date. So that's awesome.
It is. And we can decorate, like we just decorated for fall, and we do, crafts and projects. So we can make it kind of like a preschool where it's not always the same thing day and day and day. Cause we were getting bored out of our mind. There's just only so much you can do. And you treat children for years, it gets old. So if it's old for me, it's old for them, and it's old for you.
Right.
So, do you ever stop and say, why are we doing this? Why? So it needs to have value. It always needs to have value added from everybody. So.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then even just like thinking about, when they start going to school, or even just the pressures, like you were saying, being placed upon the child to do such and such by this time, or they have to, meet this certain type of standard curriculum or goal or whatever. It's like world learning, and that's becoming more like known and prevalent now, that like world learning is like the best way to go, because your child is able to go out into their natural environment. They're able to learn and see about the things that are going to be in their future that they will need to have access to and have knowledge about. And they're learning about it at an early age by seeing the postman, by seeing the, you know, animals on the street, the dogs, the cats, and walking on the sidewalk. And, you know, you can't, you know, walk too close over here because the road is there. So, you know, it's giving them this environment where they're able to learn what they need to know for life and social skills also. And that's so important for the children to be able to have that.
Yeah, we literally work on not running away on the sidewalk. Like we'll harness them and then work on stop, you know, work on road safety, because we have the ability to do that. And it's so important. And another wonderful thing is, because we have multiple therapists, we all may have a child, but we can treat them together. So like this past week, we had a little girl that mom said, we can't go to a restaurant because every time anybody sings happy birthday, it terrifies her. And you never know when somebody's going to sing happy birthday. So we had two friends that were already playing, and she brought her in, and we had a birthday party with the baby, and we sang happy birthday, and it did make her nervous, but we were able to get through it. So it's like, with the friends there and in that setting, we can slowly begin to work on things that are really scary in the outside world in a little bit more controlled way in our world, and then move it to the outside world. But we can never mix patients before. You know, it's not something we can really do. So if the family's okay, and they're always like, yes, we love this. We love the idea of, hey, you want to play together? So we're not like in our separate rooms. We'll be in the living room and we'll have a balloon party and throw balloons everywhere. And there'll be 3 kids, and there's 3 therapists. So they're getting treatment, but they're all playing together. We're all working on different goals, but the families don't know that. They just see kids playing a game together, running around a living room in a house. So it's creativity to the nth degree. There's like no boundaries on what we really can just fun-wise do. And we have play groups too. So we have a play group coming up next week, and the theme is like everything water. So we're going to have all kind of water play, and just get the little ones together in our backyard and have a water day. So it's still therapy though. It's all therapy.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
And that is so needed, you know, just for the children to be able to pick up on those social skills to prepare them for, you know, going to school. Because I know I was like, my daughter, she is 13. And so just last year, I was like, this is the first time that we have been able to go out as a family and eat dinner at a restaurant together. Like one day we went out, and I was like, this is the first time that we've been able to go out and she wasn't screaming and yelling. And, you know, so being able for the kids to experience that and gain those skills and learn how to, you know, react and handle those situations with other children and other families. I mean, that is just amazing to have that space to be able to do that and feel comfortable, and for them to, you know, learn. Because I know, you know, with a lot of parents, they don't even want to go out. This is why we're isolated, because we're scared to go out and deal with that and not know how to handle those types of situations, whether it's how, you know, we're going to react, or our child, how other people will react to, you know, the screaming and yelling and things like that. So that's amazing for the parents to be able to get out and be able to be around other families that are going through the same thing that they are going through, and children to see, oh, you know, this child is like me, they're like me. So, you know, I think that is so important for them to have that space to be able to do that.
And I think a lot of our families wouldn't try it if we weren't doing it in an organized way. Like it's a clear meet and greet. They know we're going to be there. So we kind of have a safety net, and they know other families are going to be there. So I think it's getting a lot of families to try things they would never think to try before, and be so successful at it, because it's been tremendously successful.
And then, and you guys offer parent training too, right?
We're working on that. We've only been open 5 months, so that is.
Oh my gosh! Okay, yeah.
That is up and running. We started our meet and greets, our play groups. We are also in process of starting a parent support group. Hopefully in October or November, we're going to get that going, and then parent trainings. We want to do various people have volunteered to do trainings, so we absolutely want to get that going, but we're still planning that. But we will definitely, that would be without children. So it could either be online or you could come to the house. And it would be a variety of topics. And because we're nonprofit, we ask the family, what do you need? What do you want? What times do you want the meet and greet? Where do you want to go? So most of the things we do is driven off of information we gather from the families. And usually what they say is different than what we anticipated they would say. So it's really funny, which is great. So we want to make sure that we're using their input a lot.
That's awesome.
And if they tell us something, like even as you were talking, I was thinking, doing some sort of like babysitter training might be a great, I'm thinking of like things that we can do because that's needs that need to be met. So we're always kind of thinking ahead as to what need needs to be met and how could we meet that as part of the nonprofit. So those are exciting things to think about.
That's awesome.
And then you were talking about, your experience with children and, mostly working with toddlers. So is there an age cap or age limit on or age requirement for the patient, the children that you take in to do therapy with?
Well, we are very comfortable taking them straight from the NICU or straight from birth. Usually, that would be a motor therapist, like an occupational therapist, or physical therapy generally starts that early. Speech usually starts around 15 months. That's our favorite time to get started on there. We do tend to attract a lot of either more involved children or children who need multiple therapies or more intensive therapy, or children with autism. We have a very high caseload of very young children with autism. Most families are maybe aware, but they don't have a diagnosis yet. So they kind of come to us as a first stop. So Cameron and I have been doing this so long that we've got a really gentle way of kind of easing a family into, this is what it is. This is what it's not. This is what to expect. This is the goods, the highs and the lows. But the biggest thing is you've got a tribe, you've got people here to support you. And just to really always celebrate every single thing that occurs. And that it is such a big deal that just any change or anything that happens. So usually we start around toddlers. We go up to 5 because our goal is really to do kind of the natural evolution of sending them to school. That tends to be what families choose to do. And even though they say they're going to continue therapy, it's important that a family is a family. And when you're going to ABA and you're going to school, and then after school, you bring them to speech and OT and PT, and you're getting home at 7 o'clock at night and you haven't made dinner, it's too much. It's just too much on the family. And a lot of times the kids are falling asleep at the table. It's not even beneficial. So we encourage a very natural approach to do what feels right. If you have a lot of value in therapy, then continue. But if it's run its course, it's run its course. Do something different. Do swim, do, soccer, do taekwondo. At 5, they should be starting to do other things with their lives. And my personal opinion, they shouldn't be in therapy all the time. So we kind of try and encourage the families to start to expand their child's horizons and just broaden their experiences, and to really let the educational system kind of take it from there. So usually about age 5, we've done what we really feel like we're good at doing, and we pass the baton.
And even with you saying that, Lori, sometimes as a parent of a child with special needs and having a child that has severe disabilities, like quadriplegic. My daughter has quadriplegic cerebral palsy. So, she's total care. And with you, just talking about at 5, they go to school and everything like that. I know even sometimes in my time, just thinking to myself, and I'm questioning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm, juggling all of these things, taking her to therapy all the time. She's 13 now. And as far as her strength, as far as being able to sit up and really participate in a lot of activities. Sometimes it's like, okay, am I wasting time taking her to therapy? As a parent, we have to like sit down and kind of step into reality of things and be like, what are the benefits that my child is getting from therapy at this point? What is it doing for my mental health and, maybe my goals and plans in life of what I want to do, since, my life has probably been on hold for a long time doing this therapy up until this point. So how is it benefiting both of us? Is it helping her progress any further than where she already is at this point? Those are things that I have to sit down and really like think about and evaluate. And just like I said, as parents, we have to sit down and think about that, because I know just therapy, we have to do therapy, we have to take a child therapy, we have to, but just how you're teaching the parents how to do this therapy at home, because most of the day they're going to be with their parents if they're not in school. We have to be their teachers. We're their first teachers. So is it now to the point where I should be doing the teaching and continuing on what I have learned over these years that, help her continue with the quality of life that she's going to have? Or should I continue, putting all this stuff on my plate and taking her to therapy and not getting home until late, or blocking out this time when, the progression is not, making a big impact on her life. So, those are things that I think that we have to think about too. And so that's a good thing for parents to think about when they are going to therapy, and just with you having that, natural progression. Like you said, I think that's a very important thing to think about, and a good step for the parents to be able to take. And hopefully, for those parents that maybe their child has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, and maybe their child might be doing a little bit more, and therapy is helping, but that's something that you have to sit down and evaluate, for yourself and your child, and, their quality of life. So I think that's so important that, you do that, and let the natural progression go, and parents just think about that and continue to be your child's first teacher and take what you have learned and continue to help your child the best that you can, without stressing yourself and putting yourself in different positions that, are just, dragging you along, and you feel like you're so tired, you have all this weight on top of you. So, those are things to think about.
That's exactly right. This is not mine, but I use this often, and I heard it many years ago with the spoons theory, where you start the day with so many spoons, and you give out your spoons all day long. And when you're out of spoons, you're out of spoons. And if you're out at 2:00 in the afternoon, then you didn't manage like what you needed to have to get through the rest of your day. And I think it takes a lot. I mean, parents of children with special needs have a tremendous amount of just responsibility and planning and thinking on them. And they often, like you're saying, forget to add themselves and, their own relationships into the equation. And so what I try and tell families is think about those spoons. I mean, those are valuable spoons. Don't give me a spoon if I don't deserve one. Okay. And you need to keep that spoon for you. Then it's not happening today. You need to think about how important those are and give them out to where they're really, really valuable. And it is okay to keep one. It's important to keep one for yourself and to make sure that you have it spread out through the day. And if you are driving all day, so you can check them in, drop them off, pick them up, let them sleep in the car, drive to the next one, give them a snack, they fall asleep, they have a tantrum, you get home, there's nothing left in you, but there's also nothing left in the child. But you checked it off, right? Hey, I checked off all of these things. So have a healthy perspective on, I ask families all the time, why? Why are you doing that? And if you give me a good answer, that's great. You have a clear goal and this is working and we're working on this, go for it. Let's do it. But if you're telling me you're doing this because I'm supposed to, says who, because you are the expert on your child. That's just all there is to it. So you need to really think about what is healthy for my child, for me, for siblings. I tell families all the time, do not make all of your siblings' lives rotate around your child with a disability. I mean, they are important and they have different needs, but all of your children need to fill that individual need. So it's okay to take a little, do a little less therapy, or maybe a little less time to share it with your other children. Give them spoons too. You know, that you have permission to do that. And it's not guilt. It's wonderful. It's like a freeing understanding of, I am a great mom and I'm a great dad and I'm doing a great job at this. And it doesn't mean I spend 30 hours a week in therapy. It just doesn't. If it works, it works. That's great. If it doesn't, cut it loose. You know?
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah. And I know that you were saying that you take insurance and then, you know, you're also a nonprofit. So what are the parent options there with the insurance? How does that work? If they have insurance, are fully billing? Are they allowed to pay for some sessions? How does that work?
Yes, that's a great question. So it takes a lot of work and energy and a very long time to get credentialed. And credentialed is when an insurance company allows you to be in network. So we are in network with all Medicaids, and I take all Medicaids fully. Even when people say that, you know, you're not going to stay in business, I'll say, watch me, because we're doing just fine. And I'm very excited to be able to offer that to anyone. Regardless of their ability to pay, we take every single person. We're in network with TRICARE, all the TRICAREs, United Healthcare. I have, for 15 years, I've been trying to get into network with Blue Cross Blue Shield and have been denied over and over. And I wrote them a letter basically telling them kind of what we talked about today, that families should be allowed to go to a place that they feel comfortable. And they gave me an invitation to be in network. So kudos to Blue Cross Blue Shield. That is like impossible to do. We're in the process, and it is not an easy process, but I really hope by the beginning of next year, we're going to be fully credentialed with Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a huge win for us and for our families, because so many families have that insurance. In Cigna and Aetna, we have out-of-network benefits. They're also a little hard to crack into, but we're still going to go after it. So we do have out-of-network benefits. So we basically follow the insurance at that point. So all Medicaids are covered. And then we take co-pays just like you would go to any other place in the city. If for some reason your plan denies you, so say you have a $10,000 deductible, you would never meet that, then we have the ability to move you over to the nonprofit, and we have a sliding fee scale based on income and your child's disability. So you would never pay more than $50 a visit or less than $30. So your payment would be between $30 and $50 for a visit. And so basically the nonprofit covers the rest of that. So they pay about half of it. So it just reduced the cost. So we try not to use that because I feel like insurance companies should be accountable for providing services for children when their families are paying their premiums. Right. So we try very hard to use insurance benefits, but when it's just not possible, we're able to use the tribe donations to support those families. And we also have fundraising abilities, things that we're doing that you can give in a child's name. Or we've had 2 different families do their child's birthday presents as donations. And so they were able to apply that money straight to their therapy to cover therapy. So that's the great thing about having the nonprofit is we can use money in a different way and really be able to funnel it directly to the families. So we're getting creative. We're always looking for new things to do. And I'm very excited for the gala that's coming up. So we're hoping just to get our name out there and to attract more donors who are interested in what we're doing. And just, again, filter that money straight to the families to provide support.
So do you guys take any type of scholarships or?
So yes, we take, I always get it wrong. What was formerly the Gardner Scholarship? It's like 5 words now.
Step Up for Students, Unique Abilities Scholarship.
See,
Family Empowerment.
Family Empowerment, yes, we take that. Absolutely, yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Good information.
So what about like scholarships from different organizations that donate to families? Maybe like, you know, how the JT Townsend Foundation, they like help families out a lot. If they were donating, you know, to so many services of therapy, do you guys like work out something like that?
We haven't had anybody do that yet, but we're perfectly capable of that. We're a fully functioning 501c3, so we can take, we can legally take all scholarships, donations, and when someone does donate to us, they have the right to tell us how to use that money. That's so yes. So anything that comes in that is designated, we would do that with that money. And then a lot of families go after their own support like that.
Awesome.
And okay, so I have to ask too, is there a waiting list for speech?
So absolutely not. Our new speech therapist, who is adorable. We are absolutely in love with her, started last week. So she got right in there and the kids just went all over her and she fit right in. So it was a good fit. And it's been so cool with Tribe because we've done nothing traditionally. Like she found us. Most people just kind of walk in our door. And it really is like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. We just have people walk in and say, hey, I was thinking this. I was like, I was thinking that this morning. It's nice to meet you. So
right, that's awesome.
Started, and she's working 2 days a week right now, but she is going to flex up to full time as we build her schedule. So I will probably tend to keep, again, my thing is kind of that young autism co-treatment. So there's definitely kids that I will tend to keep as she's growing her skill, but she's fantastic. So 0 wait list on speech. We've not been on wait list yet, so, but yeah, we're filling up.
Awesome. Okay, guys. All right, that is so good.
What are your right? Because it's like a long wait. What are your hours of operation?
So we open at 8:30 Monday through Thursday and go till 5, and then we're 8:30 to 12:30 on Fridays. That's what we're doing right now. All of us are commuting into Riverside, so it's been a little tricky getting there at 8. So we've had to bump it to 8:30, and then we're working till 5. So that's what we're trying out now. Again, we're only 5 months in, so we're kind of flexible to see what families need.
Okay.
But
so far we've been able to work it out really nicely.
That's and awesome. So how do families get started? What do they need a prescription referral? How do they get started with services with Tribe Rehab?
So yes, we always need a prescription, but we can also do that for them. So on our website, if you just Google Tribe Rehabilitation, or the website is inthetribe.net, there is a contact form on there, and it asks your basic demographic information, your name, your address, and it asks for your insurance information on there. So we go ahead and run your insurance so that when we call you that first time, you know exactly what's covered and what to expect. And then if there is issues, we can offer you the nonprofit and kind of explain that. If families decide to come in, then we usually contact the pediatrician for them and get all the prescriptions and get all that ready to go. If family already has that, then they can just fax it to us, and we run the insurance benefits and we're good to go. But yeah, on our website, there's a form you fill out and that goes directly to us, and we try to get you started depending on your insurance, if you need authorization or anything like that. But we try and get you started within a week.
Wow. That is amazing.
Well, so you guys heard it first. There is no waiting list.
No waiting list.
Okay. Yes. No waiting list. So if you are interested in services at Tribe Rehab, please make sure that you go and check out their website, intribe.net, right?
Inthetribe.net.
Inthetribe.net. Yes. And make sure you check out their Facebook page, Instagram. I'm not sure if you guys have like YouTube or anything like that, or TikTok, but
we're working on it.
Yeah. I'm sure those TikTok videos will probably be really fun. So check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Check out their website. If you have any further questions, their contact information will be on their website and on their social media pages. And I'm sure you can call in also if you have questions about anything, or send an email, and I'm sure that they will get right with you. I mean, this is such a great just opportunity, a great environment, a great space for young children to develop and learn. As I always say, those early developmental years from birth to age 5, 6 are so crucial and important for our children, and for them to be in their most natural setting environment is so important for their health and growth. And I mean, I'm so happy that you guys are providing this environment and setting for not only the children but the families. That is so important, because the children are learning from their families first. So I mean, I am just so thankful for Tribe Rehab, and I mean, this model that you guys have going on is so awesome. And you didn't think about the kids, you thought about the families and everything that we have had to go through during their early years, and birth and all that stuff, the hospital and everything. That's just amazing that you have thought about all of these things when you put this wonderful organization together. So again, if you guys have any questions, if you are ready to get your child into therapy or switch them, move them, please reach out to Tribe Rehab. Make sure you like their page on Facebook and follow them on Instagram. And thank you so much, Lori, for joining us and talking about Tribe Rehab. We appreciate you so much. And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Two Moms and Some Labels. Until next time, we will see you all. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.